What's your first name and where are you from?
Hey, my name is Delk. I'm 18 and I am from Kentucky. I live in Lexington.
So, where were you before you started working with us?
I was in high school. I had no business. I found you on a TikTok live when I was in my third period and I started asking you questions. You gave good answers to every question that I had about Amazon. I had been seeing some stuff about e-commerce online and how people were changing their lives through e-commerce online. You gave good answers to all my questions about wholesale and stuff like that. And I followed you for like a whole year, like always tapping into the lives while I was saving up all my money to start Amazon. And that's how I found you. So I've
That's awesome.
low-key known you for like 2 years.
We got to meet in person, which was awesome.
I know that was super sick. Working with you guys allowed me to be able to travel and come out there and meet you guys.
What was the biggest obstacle you had when starting out?
To be honest, I never really struggled with like opening accounts or any sort of like outreach struggles like that. But the biggest thing for me was the accounts that I did have open was finding profitable products on those accounts. I was opening really like surface level distributors, like larger companies that everybody can have access to. And I think that was a big struggle for me in the beginning was I was only first page of Google type like grocery distributors that everybody could talk to if they wanted to, seeing the same catalog everybody else has.
So, what was the big turning point for you in your Amazon journey once you got into the community?
Yeah, connecting back to my biggest hurdle probably was your cohort 3 calls wherever we would go through and storefront stalk people. You would just pick out any random niche, any small category, like random item that I've never even heard of before, and you were able to track down exactly like what distributor most likely sold that product. And it's just these insane products I've never heard of before. I would have had no idea how to reach out to these smaller distributors. These distributors that honestly, even if I found them on my own, I probably still wouldn't have gone and reached out to them because they're just such hole in the wall companies that those are really the ones that have like the outstanding products though, because nobody is tapped in with them.
Honestly, I think a big turning point for you within the community was your ability to network with other sellers. You became
Oh
close.
yeah, we can talk
You
about
know,
this. We can talk about this a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
you became really close with a guy who's crushing it in our community, Manav, and the two of you
100%.
kind of explain how the two of you kind of met and connected and then started doing even business together.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't even remember how I just DM'd him, honestly, because I wanted advice. So after one of the group calls, I DM'd him because, just the way he spoke, he sounded young, he sounded like he spoke similar to me. So I reached out to him, just asking him for advice and stuff like that. And then it got to a point where we were sharing like more than advice with each other. We kind of just became friends. We started becoming mutuals on like all these social media platforms, stuff like that, like just snapping each other. Like we low-key just became friends. Yeah, we had the idea to contact these distributors and combine our orders. Not sort of like a group buy thing, but what we would do is we would go to these distributors and we would each order we would both order from them but tell them that it's like two separate orders, so they would treat us like we're our own company, and then we would send those orders back to his warehouse and we would end up with the combined cost of both our orders. We would additionally unlock like discounts that we wouldn't have been able to have before, free freight, a lot more negotiating since we're spending a lot more money, and that allowed me to see a lot more of a profit spike and ultimately a lot more sales in my business through that networking with him.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people underestimate, who you're going to meet in these type of communities and these programs. You start meeting even potentially some of your closest friends in these type of atmospheres, these type of
Absolutely.
networking groups, because everyone is aligned at that higher level, that higher level of thinking, that entrepreneur mindset. And you
Yeah.
start to connect and meet people that have that same mindset. And I think it's, joining a community or a network is so much more than just getting, coached on how to learn how to do something. It's how to kind of find your people, which I think is something a lot of people don't talk about.
I agree. I think that's sort of like a hidden value because that's not something that you're really keeping in mind. I mean, it might be what some people are thinking about, but at least for me, that's not something that I was really keeping in mind, honestly. I thought like, okay, I want some one-on-one with people who have been in the business and they know what they're doing. But I did not account that the other people that I would meet. And ultimately, what you said it the best, like I met Manav, he's definitely one of my closest friends. friends that I've met. You know, being able to meet you guys, come out and travel and meet you guys was a really cool experience, and I consider you guys friends as well.
Yeah,
I think that,
100%.
and I think you guys treat a lot of people like that. You know, I would say maybe for the first month of me being in the training, or not in the training, but in the program, I thought of you guys as, oh, okay, like they're my mentors and stuff like that. I have a lot of respect for them. Obviously, I still have a lot of respect for you guys, but after that first like additional month where I'm really getting like onboarding and stuff like that, you guys started to reach out to me on your own time, like check in on me, and it honestly felt like you guys became like more friends to me than like, you know, my coaches. Like I was able to see you guys as like figure like in my personal life to look up to. I could talk to you guys about more than Amazon and stuff like that. There was a huge positive change in my life from being in this community, not only from, you know, being able to start a business at my age and see success with business at my age, but also, you know, having people that are successful to speak with and look forward to talking to, and, you know, stuff like that.
What would you say to someone that's kind of hesitant towards jumping into Amazon, hesitant about kind of mentorship and coaching? What would you say to them?
I would much rather be safe than sorry. And I've always thought that mentorship is sort of just like a safety net that you can have. And also it's like a speed run, like speed running also. Like the result that you have in your mind, it cuts the time it takes to get there in half, like if not in more than half, depending on, you know, a lot of external factors. But yeah, I think for me it was that I wanted a safety net, and I wanted to follow in the steps of people who are 3, 4, 5 steps in front of me, you know, ultimately further along, have hit goals that they want. So if you're hesitant about mentorship, think about how much money you could lose if you don't have somebody that you can go to before you're about to like place a purchase order, like, or something like that, so they can like review your purchase order or anything else. Maybe you reach out to a distributor that's just chopped and they're gonna like cook your supply chain, you know. Whereas if you're in a mentorship, even you can send in the community tab, you can just be like, hey, have any of you guys heard of this distributor? Maybe they're bad. Maybe you get told by a bunch of people they're bad. You shouldn't reach out to them. They're gonna mess up your business. Like there's so much more value than,
I think
and
the
it's so much
safety,
less risky.
the safety net is huge, because when I started on Amazon, we would buy from people that weren't authorized, and you know, we got our account shut down because of that. And these were all things that could have been prevented if there was some sort of guidance from the get-go. Even myself, I will buy programs of certain things I'm interested in, because why not learn from someone that's been there? Expedited information is always worth paying for. So Delk, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate your time. I'll see you tonight for our coaching call.
Yes, sir. I'll see you then.